Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 4 Predictions. At the end of the epic final third of Episode 3, where we saw Nacho meet his own fate, we saw a snippet of the next episode and it alluded to certain things that could happen. So what could happen in Episode 4? Well, let's jump in. Here is Better Call Saul Season 6 Episode 4 Predictions. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. So there were three main takeaways from the snippet that we got at the end of Episode 3. We had Gus and Mike dealing with the repercussions of Nacho being killed, Jimmy dealing with a lot of people seeking out Saul Goodman, whilst also dealing with Suzanne looking into Jimmy's involvement with Lalo, and also the car that was following Jimmy and Kim at the end of Episode 2 made a reappearance, and we finally see it get addressed. Let's start with the section of Jimmy in a car driving to the motel. We saw in Episode 3 Huell get Howard's keys cut, so Jimmy had access to his car, and we know that Jimmy has a plan in mind to take down Howard Hamlin. It looks as though in the next episode we're going to see Jimmy use the keys that he got cut in the episode prior to this one, and take Howard's car, drive to a motel parking lot and evade shortly after. So I think the plan is going to start to get put into place more and more as the episodes now move forward. However, we do see Howard Hamlin in the preview calling out that he himself is just getting started, which makes me think that he's fully aware of what Jimmy and Kim are doing. Or whatever they did at the motel didn't prove to be that damaging towards him. Maybe the kettleman spilled the beans, who knows. He may well have a plan himself, or have retaliated to the events that took place, or the discovery of Jimmy and Kim's scheming. We also finally see the car that was following Jimmy and Kim at the end of Episode 2 make a reappearance. But it seems as though it's following Kim specifically. As we heard her say to Jimmy one evening, "Do you ever feel like you're being followed?" This makes me think that Jimmy isn't actually being followed at all. We know that Suzanne is currently working on getting Jimmy to reveal some information about Lalo, and finding out whether or not he was aware of his true identity during representation. So she could have hired somebody to follow Kim, to track her steps, and to see if there's anything that Kim is being dishonest about. We know that Kim confronts the person in the car that's following her, as we saw her ask them, "Why are you following me?" We don't see their face in a clear view, but it appears to be a male, and somebody that's unrecognizable at the moment. Now on to Gus and Mike. Mike looks terribly sad after the events of what happened at the end of Episode 3 with Nacho. It appears that Gus is preparing for the worst in the sense that he's got a bulletproof vest on, which we saw in the preview when he opened up his wardrobe. And we also saw that his whole house is being monitored by surveillance cameras. They managed to keep the Salamancas off of their back following the end of Episode 3, but I don't think that's necessarily going to last for long. I'm envisaging both corners of the cartel coming up against each other before the end of the season concludes. The fact that Mike said that he needs guys that are close also makes me think that the Salamancas could be aware of something, and Mike has to keep people on high alert and ready to act. The final main thing to take away from the preview was the section where Jimmy walks in and says, "Who's here for Saul Goodman?" and everybody raises their hand. We heard somebody say, "You're that guy." And this same person did actually appear in a previous trailer for when the new season was announced, and he was heard saying, "You're Salamanca's guy," which I think is showing that these petty criminals who need representation are impressed with how good of a lawyer Jimmy is, considering he managed to get Lalo off. This also shows that the identity is recognizable. I think this could also mean something else. It could be part of Howard Hamlin's plan where he says that he's just getting started. He could be flooding in a lot of criminals and work that could essentially overload Jimmy, or prove to be more damaging for him if he takes them up. There's a lot in store for Episode 4 of the show, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. What do you think will happen? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.